order. I would ask everyone to stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight's invocation is being offered by Council Member Anthony Davis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Please bow your heads. Dear Lord, we come together today to serve this great city of Nashville. I just want to thank you for allowing us to be elected by these great citizens and to represent us well. We just ask that you please be with us tonight. Let us make the best decisions for our constituents, our great city, and our great state in this country. Thanks again. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Without objection, we'll suspend the calling of the roll and ask the clerk to record the names of the members present throughout the meeting. Is there a motion for the adoption of our minutes from our March 6th? There's a motion and a second. Without objection, they will stand approved. Madam Clerk, are there any messages from the mayor?
There are no messages from the mayor.
Thank you. We are now at the point for a presentation. Councilmember Stein.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor and members of the council. Tonight, we recognize and congratulate the Metropolitan Department of Information Technology Services for its efforts leading to the Metro government being named a top 3 digital city government. eRepublic's Center for Digital Government and Digital Communities program announced that Metro Nashville took the 3rd place in the 10th anniversary Digital Cities Survey. That survey, which was open to all cities in this country of 30,000 people or more, examines the operating efficiencies cities realize through the use of technology in a time of budgetary constraints. Our Metro Department of Information Technology Services, led by Director Keith Durbin, has been involved in achieving such operating efficiencies through the use of technology in the Nashville After Zone Alliance, the Emergency Communication Center's computer-aided dispatch system, and the map-based development tracker program found in Metro Government's website, amongst many others. For this work, Metro ITS was recognized for its efforts at an award ceremony that I was honored to represent them at National League of Cities annual conference last November in Phoenix. And therefore, it's fitting and proper that this body recognize Metro ITS for its outstanding work done by the department to save taxpayer money by increasing the operating efficiencies of our government, leading to their recognition on behalf of the city of being named a top 3 digital city government. We have with us tonight from ITS, Ankia Morley, Michael Rear, Lori Smiley, Dawn Clark, Margaret Keck, and our former colleague in this body and their director, Keith Durbin. Keith, congratulations to you all. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman, first for accepting this award for us at the National League of Cities Conference, but also for your support in advancing technology within Metro government. I'm very happy to accept this award, not only for the 134 employees of the ITS department that I manage, but also for those other IT workers in other Metro departments and agencies. As Councilman Stein mentioned, Nashville ranked 3rd with Seattle and Honolulu among cities over 250,000 people. That's a good area to be in. And according to the Centers for Digital Government, the highest ranking cities in the survey showed great strides in consolidating and enabling shared services, government transparency, and communications interoperability. These innovators worked in the spirit of collaboration to provide extraordinary value to constituents despite budgetary setbacks. I could not say it better than that. Thank you all very much for your time.
Thank you. And not only for the award, but for perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Bob.
Councilmember Langster, did you wish to be recognized?
Yes, thank you, Vice Mayor. At this time, I would like to ask everyone if they will stand and stand with me for a moment. I'm sure we all heard about former Chancellor Irvin Gilcrease. He passed away. Judge Gilcrease became the first African American to preside over a Tennessee Chancery Court after then Governor Lamar Alexander appointed him to a Davidson County Chancery Court in 1980. He retired in 2003. Final arrangements have not been made, but we can watch our newspapers. Will you bow, please? Amen. Thank you.
Councilmember Stein, elections and confirmations.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. The Elections and Confirmations Committee heard 5 appointees this evening. The first, a reappointment to the Emergency Communications District Board, Mr. James Buford Toon. The committee voted 9 for, none against to recommend, and I move his approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes.
Second, first-time appointee to the Human Relations Commission, Ms. Alistair Newbern. The committee recommends 9 for, none against, and I move her approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes.
To the MDHA Board, a first-time appointee, Ms. Manima Bashir, was approved by the committee 9 for, none against, and I move her approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes.
A first-time appointee to the Plumbing Examiners and Appeals Board, Ms. Leah Granderson, was recommended by the committee 9 for, none against, and I move her approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes.
And our last reappointment this evening is Mr. David Taylor to the Board of Zoning Appeals. The committee recommends his reappointment 9 for, none against, and I move his approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. When I call your name, please stand and remain standing. James Buford Toon, Alistair Newman, Manima Bashir, Leah Granderson, and David Taylor. On behalf of the Metropolitan Council, thank you for your willingness to serve our great city. Thank you. Councilmember Jernigan.
Vice Mayor, may I have a point of personal privilege, please?
Yes, sir.
I have a constituent in the audience tonight from the Fighting 11th, and for the past 2 days, Miss Alex Schnelly has been following me around, shadowing me, and learning about local government. She is a sophomore at the University of Tennessee, studying political science, and more importantly, guys, it's a spring break for her, and she was down here learning about government, so maybe she's got the bug. Will you please stand, Alex, in the back, and please welcome her.
We're now at the point on our agenda for the consent agenda. We have RS 2012-176 through RS 2012-199 on the consent agenda. 176 approves an amendment to grant from the State Emergency Management Agency to the Department of Finance for reimbursement of flood-related expenses to facilities damaged during the April and May 2010. RS 2012-177 approves a grant from the State Department of Finance and State Trial Courts, Drug Court, to enhance the transition process from residential treatment into society. RS 2012-178 approves a grant from the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation to the Office of the District Attorney General to provide personnel to review, coordinate, and prosecute gang-related cases. RS 2012-179 approves an application for a Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Response Grant from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security to the Metro Nashville Fire Department. RS 2012-180 accepts a federal grant from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security to the Metro Nashville Fire Department to create a professional development program and acquire a driver simulation to train fire department personnel in the operation of large vehicles. RS 2012-181 appropriates grant funds from the State Department of Agriculture to the Nashville Farmers Market to advertise and promote the market. RS 2012-182 approves an incentive grant from the State Department of Labor and Workforce Development to the Nashville Career Advancement Center to fund various programs and deliver services. RS 2012-183 approves a contract between the Metro Board of Health and Meharry Medical College to provide internship opportunities for students. RS 2012-184 approves a grant from the State Department of Health to the Metro Board of Health to provide tender care outreach services for enrolled children. RS 2012-185 approves a grant from the State Department of Health to the Metro Board of Health to provide tobacco use prevention services. RS 2012-186 approves a grant from the State Department of Health to the Metro Board of Health for the implementation of the state immunization program. RS 2012-187 approves a grant from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services to the Metro Board of Health to enhance access to community-based care for low-income individuals and families. RS 2012-188 approves an annual grant from the State Department of Health to the Metro Board of Health to enhance the health and well-being of women, infants, and families. RS 2012-189 approves an amendment to a grant from the State Department of Human Services to the Metro Action Commission for the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program. RS 2012-190 approves an amendment to a community service block grant from the State Department of Human Services to the Metro Action Commission to provide adult basic education to help achieve self-sufficiency. RS 2012-191 approves an amendment to a grant from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services to the Metro Board of Health to provide a community-wide initiative to reduce obesity. RS 2012-192 approves a package of grants from the Friends of Warner Park to the Metro Board of Parks and Recreation to provide staffing for the Warner Park Center and Nature Center. RS 2012-193 approves both an amendment to a grant and a new grant from the Friends of Centennial Park and Parthenon to Metro Parks and Recreation Department to provide funding for a full-time Metro Parks employee. RS 2012-194 approves a grant from the Tennessee State Library and Archives to the Nashville Public Library to increase the library staff's knowledge and skills in assisting the public with electronic devices used to read e-books. RS 2012-195 approves a cooperative joint funding agreement between the U.S. Department of the Interior, U.S. Geological Survey, and the Metro Water Services for the continued operation and upgrades of the flood warning gauges on various Davidson County creeks. RS 2012-196 approves a grant from the State Department of Environment and Conservation to Metro government to provide assistance in maintaining and operating a permanent household collection site. RS 2012-197 authorizes Revolution Real Estate to construct, install, and maintain an aerial encroachment at 119 3rd Avenue South. RS 2012-198 authorizes the Metro Department of Law to compromise and settle the personal injury claim of Andrea Mays against Metro government for the amount of $22,000. RS 2012-199 approves the election of notaries public for Davidson County. We will now need the committee reports. Councilmember McGuire.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. The Budget and Finance Committee voted to approve all of the bills on the consent agenda that came before it unanimously.
Thank you. Codes, Fair, and Farmers Market. Councilmember Moore.
Codes voted to approve as well unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you. Health, Hospitals, and Social Services. Councilmember Langster.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Health, Hospital, and Social Service voted to approve all bills unanimously.
Thank you. Parks, Library, Recreation, and Public Entertainment. Councilmember Jernigan.
Parks and Rec approved all three bills unanimously, 9-0.
Thank you. Personnel, Public Information, Human Relations, and Housing. Councilmember Perdue.
Yes, ma'am. We approved both bills unanimously.
Thank you. Councilman Claber, Claiborne, Planning, Zoning, and Historical.
Vice Mayor, Planning and Zoning approved 2012-197, 10 for, 0 against.
Thank you. Public Safety, Councilman Mitchell.
Yeah, Public Safety approved both bills unanimously.
Public Works, Councilman Hunt.
Thank you, Madam President. Public Works Committee approved all 3 bills, 9 and 0.
Thank you. Rules and Confirmations, Councilman Stein.
Rules and Confirmation approved 199-9 for, none against.
Thank you. Are there any bills that need to be pulled from the consent agenda? Councilman Stein, is there a motion for their approval?
I move approval of all bills on the consent agenda.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. We're now at bills on introduction and first reading. Is there a motion for their approval? Sorry. Councilmember McGuire on BL 2012-122, an ordinance amending ordinance number 095-1379, second substitute ordinance BL 2010-645, and ordinance BL 2011-865, and approving an additional extension of 6 months to the initial term of the cable television franchise of Comcast pending completion of the franchise renewal process. Councilmember McGuire.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. The Budget and Finance Committee voted to approve unanimously.
This one, we actually need to approve a substitute that goes from 6 months to 1 year so that all 3 readings will be for the 1 year extension. So if we can move the substitute.
I would move the substitute at this time, please.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Councilman Todd?
We're on bills on first reading?
No, sir, I've skipped.
Okay.
Well, we're not on all of them yet. Yeah. Any other discussion? All in favor of the substitute ordinance, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Substitute passes. Councilman McGuire?
I would move as substituted.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. We're now back to all bills on first reading. Councilman Todd?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to be shown as abstaining on Bill 118.
Okay. Any others? Is there a motion for approval of all other bills on first reading? We have a motion and Councilmember Dow.
I want to be noted as abstaining on 116.
So noted. Okay, that's on second reading, and we'll come back to that one. All in favor of all bills on first reading, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passed. We're now at bills on second reading. The first is BL 2011-83, amends the Metro Code pertaining to the extension of water mains to properties served by wells. Councilmember Stanley.
Committee reports, please.
Councilmember McGuire.
Budget and Finance voted to disapprove unanimously.
Councilmember Stanley.
I would ask that this bill, make a motion that this bill be withdrawn at this time with a couple of comments.
We have a motion and a second for the bill being withdrawn. Councilmember Stanley.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's important that we understand that in 1995, Metro Nashville Water Services took over all the private utility districts in Davidson County. So it provides only the water service that Metro Nashville Davidson County receives at this time. I think it's important to understand that back in 2000, I worked with then Mayor Bill Purcell when Metro Water was replacing the Cumberland Utility District's water lines all throughout Hermitage Hills. They were tearing up the public streets. As they were doing that, they came to me the residents did, and they asked me to have Water Services or someone go in and repave the public streets. When I went to Water Services, they said they were not responsible. They were only responsible for putting in the water lines to connect to the houses. When I went to Mayor Bill Purcell, he informed me that Water Services was going to be held responsible for paving those streets. And within 2 weeks, they went out there and they paved those streets. I worked with Mayor Carl Dean in 2007, 2008, when I was informed by the fire department that there were not enough fire hydrants in some of the older subdivisions that were served by Metro Water Services. But I have since been informed that there have been approximately 67 fire hydrants emplaced in Hermitage Hills, Dotson Heights, and Stones River Estates in Hermitage alone. And this was after I went to Mayor Carl Dean. I developed a 7-page report. I gave it to Mayor Carl Dean, and he agreed with me that Water Services was going to be responsible for installing those $5,000 an instrument fire hydrants, 67 fire hydrants in Hermitage Hills, Dotson Heights, and Stones River Estates. When I went to Water Services before going to Carl Dean, they informed me that it's the fire department that's going to be responsible for that. They're not responsible for that. I don't know where some of these projected costs come from. If they come from the Water Services Department, you can bet they're going to be inflated, very much inflated. And I think it's important to understand that there are a lot of streets throughout Davidson County that still have no municipal water. And a lot of those parcels on those streets are served by wells in the ground and are in floodplains. They drain directly into the natural waterways that serve our city. It's important for Metro Water to understand that first and foremost, they are responsible to the citizens of this city and to us as representatives of this city to provide water service, municipal water service to each and every person that resides in Davidson County. Their failure or their refusal to do this is inappropriate. It's unacceptable. And it's a piece of trash, if you ask me. I don't like this policy of theirs that they've based it on, that they have said this is a street, and whenever it has residential development on it, then we're going to hold the developer in general responsible for putting the water main in. Well, these homes on Hoggett Ford Road, there's only 16, but they were built anywhere from 1899 to 1990. They were not built by one developer, and you're looking at a $2 million project that I was given the projection for that was going to come out of the pockets of private residents. That's ridiculous. We have a responsibility to provide municipal water service to every citizen in this city. And I am appalled by the fact that there is still no desire by Water Services to put this in. But I will withdraw this bill at this time, but I will bring back another bill within the next couple of months. I'm going to ask that each and every member of this committee, of this body, support this bill. Thank you.
Is there any other discussion on the motion to withdraw? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The motion to withdraw passes. Next is BL 2012-110, amends the Metro Code to permit the electronic filing of annual disclosure and benefit reporting statements. Councilmember Jernigan.
Committee report, please.
Councilmember Stein.
Rules voted 9-4, none against, to approve.
Councilmember Jernigan.
Move approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-111 amends the Metro Code to enable the use of curb and street surface painting to designate areas where parking is prohibited or a parking time is imposed. Councilmember Allen.
Committee reports, please.
Councilmember Hunt.
Public Works approve, 9-4-0 against.
Councilmember Harrison.
Traffic and Parking approved, 6-4 and 0 against.
Councilmember Allen.
Move for approval, please.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-112 authorizes the acquisition of 2 sewer easements on properties located at 7218 and 7220 Nolensville Road. Councilmember Hunt.
Committee report, please.
Councilman Claiborne.
Planning and Zoning voted 10-4-0 against to approve.
Councilmember McGuire.
Budget and Finance voted to approve 15-4, none against.
Councilmember Hunt.
Public Works approved, 9-4-0 against, and I move for approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-114 amends the Metro Code to allow beer distributors to have 2 places of business within the area of Metro government under certain circumstances. Councilmember Harrison.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee report, please.
Councilmember Mitchell.
Yeah, Public Safety approved 4-0.
Councilmember Harrison.
I move for passage.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-115 amends the Metro Code to prohibit smoking on hospital grounds and within the public right-of-way in the vicinity of hospital entrances. Councilmember Allen.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. There is an amendment. Do I do committee reports first?
Get a committee report.
Committee reports.
Councilmember Langster.
Health, Hospital, and Social Service passed unanimously 4-0.
Thank you. Councilmember Allen.
There is an amendment I would like to have Mr. Cooper explain, please.
The amendment adds Metro General Hospital to the list of hospitals for which the 200-foot smoking limitation would apply. So it would be Vanderbilt, Baptist, St. Thomas, and Metro General.
Do we have a second? Second. Any discussion on the amendment? Councilman Holloman? All in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Opposed, no. Amendment passes. We're back on the original bill. Councilmember Allen.
Move for approval as amended.
We have a motion and a second. Councilman Holloman.
I just wanted to note, I know this came up in committee, and unfortunately I couldn't be in committee, that this is an ordinance that would require posting for it to be valid. And so there were some questions about whether people that were driving by the road might be stuck as part of this ordinance. And I just wanted to be clear to everyone here that you have to be posted in order for it to be valid. And obviously that's going to happen in the areas where patients are likely to be, because the whole point of this bill is that patients in the hospital not be subjected to secondhand smoke, particularly those with respiratory illnesses.
Councilmember Perdue.
As a smoker, I can't hypocritically sit here and not ask, who's going to enforce this?
Councilmember Allen.
It's a Metro Code, and Mr. Cooper can back me up on this. If the signs are posted that will say it's a Metro Code, and that would be enforced by the Metro Police.
Police Department. Okay. Councilman Perdue.
Well, that's just the priority. The priority on that call is going to be so low, you're going to have a private security guard holding a smoking suspect until the next morning, waiting on the car to get there. I don't understand that.
Councilmember Duvall.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I just question why we have to pass an ordinance when most of these hospitals are private property. Do they not have the right to post that? Southern Hills, I was there yesterday, and they have signs already posted.
Yes, the hospitals have the right to prohibit smoking on their property. This bill does 2 things. One, it makes it a violation of an ordinance, not just a hospital policy on the smoking, for smoking on the grounds. But 2, and more importantly to the hospitals, I think, is it also includes the public right-of-way in the vicinity of the entrances, which the hospitals do not have any control over.
Thank you.
Councilmember Bedney.
I hate that I ask this question because I have people in my family that die for smoking. So, but I as somebody with an architectural background, users of a building are smokers as well. So I wonder if this rule will create accommodations for people that want to smoke. Will they have any space to where they can go that won't be, an undue burden on them?
In the committee, this kind of came up, and the representative from Vanderbilt said that since there is a requirement in the bill that signs be posted, as Councilman Holloman said, that they already have designated smoking areas, and so they will not post the signs in those areas. Now, that would be up to each individual hospital, but that was the response from Vanderbilt, who's in attendance at the Health Hospitals Committee meeting.
Councilmember Holloman.
I just wanted to remind everybody that this is something that the hospitals approached us about. I mean, I think that they wanted the force of law to go along with their administrative rules. This is not something that we're imposing on the hospitals. This is something that they came and asked us for, and I think they would just like for it to be something that's codified, so it's not just their rule, but it's actually an ordinance in the city. I don't think we're going to find. I agree with you, Councilman, that you're going to have, a squad come out and arrest anybody. It's not an arrestable offense, but it is something where if you have somebody that's totally uncooperative, that won't follow the rule, that you at least have some ability to cite them. And I think that's all that it is, so that you do have that tool available to you.
Councilmember Perdue.
I understand that, Councilman, but what I'm trying to say is we keep passing these laws like this, and you're putting it on the police department to enforce the laws. And these young officers are the one that's going to take the cussing when they get there 2 hours late. And I can refer this to John. How long can a private security guard hold somebody waiting on a patrol car to get there?
I'm not sure that a private security guard would have any authority to hold for what is purely a citable offense. We're getting into criminal law here, which I obviously know nothing about. But since the security guard would have no authority, I think they could ask them to leave and escort them off the property. But as far as holding them until the officer gets there, I'm not sure that would apply.
But they can do that now, right?
Correct.
Seeing no other discussion, all in favor of the bill as amended, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-116 authorizes the Industrial Development Board to negotiate and accept payments in lieu of ad valorem taxes with respect to HCA Information Technology and Services, Inc. Councilmember McGuire.
Budget and Finance voted to approve 13 for, none against, and 2 not voting. And I move approval. Sorry.
We have a motion and a second. Councilman Holloman.
I just need to be recorded as abstaining.
So noted. Councilmember Dow.
I also need to be recorded as abstaining.
Thank you. Seeing no other discussion, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2011-71 changes .75 acres from CS to SP zoning for property located at 5909 Charlotte Pike to permit auto repair, auto sales used, and all uses permitted by the CS district. Councilmember Baker.
Committee report, please.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning and Zoning voted 10 for, 0 against to approve with conditions.
Councilmember Baker.
Mr. Cooper, I think there's an amendment on this bill, isn't it?
Yes, there's a substitute for the bill that changes the uses that would be permitted in addition to the auto repair, but all other uses permitted under the MUL district as opposed to the CS district as the bill currently provides. It also adds a couple of conditions approved by the Planning Commission requiring that the 2 parcels be consolidated and that a right-of-way be dedicated for the property.
I move the amendment and ask for approval.
We have a motion and a second on the proposed substitute. Councilmember Holloman.
I just wanted to ask, were those all of the conditions that were proposed by the Planning Commission? That in other words, were these all the conditions that moved it from disapproved to approved?
There was one more condition that relates to the reuse of the property after the auto use goes away, or if the auto use goes away at some point, then they'll have to be consistent if they redevelop the site with all of the requirements of the MULA district in the zoning code. And that's consistent with the community plan for that area. And that was a condition of the Planning Commission.
And that was not added as part of this amendment?
That is part of the amendment, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so my question was, were there any conditions that were not added as part of the amendment?
No, not that I'm aware of. I think this includes all of the conditions from the Planning Commission.
Okay, that's my question. Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor of the proposed substitute, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Substitute passes. Councilmember Baker.
I move for approval.
We have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second for the bill as substituted. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Without objection, we can take BL 2011-73 and 2011-74 together. Seeing none, BL 2011-73 amends 65.74 acres of the Davenport Downs SP District for properties located at 4334 Maxwell Road and Maxwell Road unnumbered to permit 207 single-family residential units. BL 2011-74 changes 9.52 acres from SP's district to AR2A zoning for property located at Maxwell Road unnumbered, east of Flagstone Drive, and within the floodplain overlay district. Councilmember Duvall.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. All committee reports are in. So what I would like to do is defer this for one more meeting, the first meeting of April. We've worked out some things earlier in this meeting for some possible changes to the amendment. And that's what I'd like to do, if I could,
we
please.
have a motion for a one-meeting deferral. We have a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Thank you.
Opposed, no. One-meeting deferral passes. BL 2011-88 defines the conditions for hardships for preservation permits reviewed by Metro's Government Historic Zoning Commission. Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning and Zoning voted 10-0 to approve. And I would move for approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-92 amends the Metro Code relative to the period of inactivity for nonconforming uses and for nonconforming structures damaged by a disaster. Councilmember Dominy.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I move for a one-meeting deferral.
One committee report first, please. Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning and Zoning voted to defer one meeting at the sponsor's request, 10-0.
Thank you. Councilmember Dominy.
Move for one meeting deferral. There's been a couple of amendments proposed, and I've not had the opportunity due to illness to meet with Mr. Cooper and discuss what those would actually do. So we're going to defer it one meeting so we can get it right before we pass it.
Is there a second? All in favor of one meeting deferral, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-93 amends BL 2011-950 related to the negotiation and acceptance of payments in lieu of ad valorem taxes with respect to Standard Candy Company. Councilmember Claiborne.
Three. Okay, I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong thing. I would move for approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2011-94 abandons a 2-inch water main and easement on properties located at 2801, 2815 Lebanon Pike. Councilmember Claiborne.
I would move for approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-95 amends the official street and alley acceptance and maintenance map by changing the name of Mountain View Parkway to Crossings Boulevard. Councilmember Dow.
Committee reports.
I think you got all approvals.
Oh, well, I move for approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-96 changes 1.19 acres from OR 20 to MUL district for property located at 105 Dooling Avenue. Councilmember Pridemore.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. With the committee reports all approving, I request approval.
I think we need one more from Councilmember Claiborne.
And Planning and Zoning voted 10-0 to approve.
Great.
I now move for approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-97, we can take it and 98 together if there's no objection. BL 2012-97 cancels 25 of the Red Cap Industries Industrial Plan Unit Development Overlay District located at 554 Hickory Hills Boulevard, zoned OR 20 and proposed for SP. BL 2012-98 changes 25 from OR 20 to SP zoning property located at 554 Hickory Hills Boulevard to permit an expansion of an existing building permitting distributed business, warehouse, and light manufacturing uses. Councilmember Hunt.
Madam President, I think we got an amendment on 98.
I need to get Councilman Claiborne's committee report first.
Yes.
Planning and Zoning voted to approve both 97 and 98 10-0.
Thank you. Councilmember Hunt.
We move the amendment, and I'd like to make a motion to move the amendment.
We have a motion on the amendment. Is there a second? Have a second? You want to say anything? Or?
Yes, the amendment is just simply an oversight where they were supposed to put a turning lane in. It wasn't caught until later on, and we amended that. They are in agreement to do that. I talked to the development, and they're okay with it, so we amended so that they can put that turning lane in. So I move for that approval.
We have a motion and a second on the amendment. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Amendment passes. Councilmember Hunt.
Thank you, Madam President. Now I would like to move Bill 98 as amended.
And 97.
And 97.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes.
Thank you.
BL 2012-99 amends 0.44 acres of the SP's district for the previously approved H&M Motor Specific Plan District located at 1525 4th Avenue South to permit auto sales new, auto sales used, auto service, and all uses permitted by the MULA zoning, and to remove the condition for a sidewalk along Mallory Street. Councilmember Moore.
Committee reports, please.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning and Zoning voted to defer indefinitely at the sponsor's request 10-0.
Thank you, Councilmember Moore.
I move to defer indefinitely, but I do have a comment to make.
Is there a second? Got a second, Councilmember Moore.
Just a brief comment, Vice Mayor. I just want to say that the applicant I know has been very patient, and I am going to work with him on this particular legislation, and we do have a meeting set up. So I just want to say that, in fairness of him, I just want to make sure that that this condition about the sidewalk, which was an issue, be discussed with him as well as with the planning department. So again, I renew my motion to defer indefinitely.
We have a motion and a second for indefinite deferral. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Without objection, we can take BL 2012-100 and 101 together. Seeing none, BL 2012-100 changes 4.9 acres from the AR2A district to RS10 district for a portion of the property located at 1176 Stones River Road. BL 2012-101 amends the Ravenwood Residential Plan Unit Development Overlay District located on the north side of Stones River Road and northwest of Lebanon Pike, zoned RM6 and RS10, adds approximately 4.9 acres zoned AR2A and proposed for RS10, and changes the layout of a portion of the overlay to permit a total of 337 residential units. Councilmember Stanley.
Committee reports, please.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning and Zoning voted to approve 100 and 101, 10-0.
Thank you. Councilmember Stanley.
Move approval of both bills.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-102 changes .37 acres from CS to SP zoning for property located at 2712 Clarksville Pike to permit vehicular rental, leasing, and all other uses permitted by the CS district. Councilmember Harrison.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports, please.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning and Zoning voted 10-0 to approve with conditions.
Councilmember Harrison.
I move for approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. So we don't, okay. We don't need a machine vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-103 changes 40.18 acres from RM6 to SP zoning for property located at Franklin Limestone Road, unnumbered, for an asphalt plant and associated uses, including temporary mineral extraction, allowing blasting and crushing of stone for sale transfer from the site during site preparation for the asphalt plant. Councilmember Dominy.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee report.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning and Zoning voted 10-0 at the sponsor's request to defer indefinitely.
Councilmember Dominy.
Move indefinite deferral.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of indefinite deferral, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-105 makes provisions to 2.78 acres of a neighborhood landmark overlay district for property located at 209 Daniel Crest Drive, zoned RS15. Councilmember Stanley.
Committee reports, please.
Councilman Claiborne.
Planning and Zoning voted 10-0 to approve.
Thank you, Councilman Stanley.
Move approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes.
One more time.
BL 2012-106 changes 8.9 acres from R10 to SP zoning for property located at 2158 Antioch Pike to permit an assisted living and/or nursing facility. Councilmember Dominy.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Glad you could get that out. Committee report.
Thank you for your concern. Councilmember Claiborne.
At the sponsor's request, Planning and Zoning voted 10-0 to defer one meeting.
Councilmember Dominy.
I move a one meeting deferral.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor of a one meeting deferral, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-108 names the General Sessions Courtroom 1A located at the Justice A.A. Birch Building in honor of Judge Leon Rubin. Councilmember Tiger.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Move approval with a brief explanation.
Have a motion and a second, Councilman.
One of the most gratifying things that a council member or this body as a whole can do is honor a special person in our community for their accomplishments in life. I could refer to you to the Sunny West Conference Center on the Richard Fulton campus, or the Justice A.A. Birch building, or I ask you to look ahead at the David Scobie Council Chambers. And these are individuals that this body honored by naming them. And it's an honor that we don't take lightly. Judge Leon Rubin was a personal friend for many years. He was a mentor. He was a leader in this community. And this is a fitting honor for someone who served multi-terms the Metro Council, chairing the Budget and Finance Committee several times, most notable for breaking the deadlock when we were gridlocked years ago on whether or not to build the Criminal Justice Center across the street. And his leadership made that happen. He served over 20 years on the bench of the General Sessions Court and was the presiding judge multiple times. And we all can remember his leadership and dedication in serving on Christmas Day and the things that he did personally that he didn't have to do. His family spent weeks and months personalizing candy canes to give to the families who had issues that came before that courtroom and that judge on Christmas and during the holidays. This is a fitting honor for a individual that made a huge difference in Nashville, and I would appreciate your support on this tonight. Thank you.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. We're now at RS 2012-200, request the Civil Service Commission to include an equal opportunity interviewing policy as part of the civil service rules. Councilmember Gilmore.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I would like to move for approval with a brief explanation. I would like to thank tonight the Urban League of, oh, I'm sorry. I just jumped into it. Committee reports.
Purdue.
Sorry.
I gave it earlier, I thought.
We were there together.
We voted 3-0 in favor.
Thank you. I do apologize for that. I did want to thank tonight the Urban League of Middle Tennessee for coming out, and also HUGS, which is an organization that helps ex-offenders to become productive citizens, for attending the committee meeting tonight. Also, I wanted to thank the members of the committee for supporting Resolution 200 and the other council members who co-sponsored this bill with me, known as the Equal Opportunity Interview Policy, which just provides persons with felonies the opportunity to fill out an application without marking that they have a felony on their record. Thank you. Had a brain freeze there. Without saying that they have a felony on their record. But however, if they are, if the human resource is serious about giving them an opportunity, they can come in and at that particular time they can disclose. So they do give them a background check. It's just that at the beginning of the process, that barrier is removed. So I would like to thank the co-sponsors once again. And I think this gives everyone a great opportunity that may have felonies, that may be ashamed of that, to go through the process and to apply for jobs. So thank you so much. And once again, I ask for approval.
All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. We have a late filed resolution. Councilman Davis, Anthony Davis, would you tell us the nature of the emergency?
Yes, we wanted to move to suspend the rules just for the timing of this. It was just it's a memorializing resolution to go to the state to just say that we oppose some of their bills. So if I can have your permission to suspend the rules, I would appreciate it.
I think it opposes all state legislation that would remove or inhibit local government powers of self-governance. Is there any objection? Seeing none, Councilman.
Do I need to get committee report, please?
Councilman Stein.
Rules Committee recommended approval, 9-4, none against.
Thank you. Councilman Davis.
Yes, move approval. Brief comment, please.
Have a second. Councilman.
Thank you guys for suspending the rules. This is basically similar to something that Franklin just passed, just saying they're opposed to the state government infringing on municipalities. Doug was maybe going to give us a couple comments about the bills, and then hopefully we can just vote for approval. Thank you.
Well, I'm not sure exactly which bills anyone might have a question about, but all the bills that are listed here either prohibit the local government from having a restriction dealing with land use, or there are at least two of these that are listed that create unfunded mandates on local governments.
Any questions? Just I'll allow comment, but otherwise move approval, please.
Councilmember Duvall.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I do want to clarify one thing. This council derives all of its authority and power from the state. If they snap their finger and pass an ordinance that we all go away, guess what? We're no longer sitting council members anymore. So to basically say the state is infringing upon metropolitan government is not correct. That's really not a right way to state it. I don't know whether I stand with these bills or oppose these bills. I'll have to read them thoroughly because I know they're in committee and they're going to be changed. I do not want any unfunded mandates directed to this metropolitan government any more than I want the federal government doing it to the state, which is something they do all the time. But I want to be real clear that everybody understand the state gives us the authority. We operate and our charter is granted to us from the state. Thank you.
Seeing no other discussion, all in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Is there a motion to adjourn? All in favor, please say aye.